Alright, welcome back everybody. This is Let's Play the Colonel's Bequest. I am Bacter, your host, and this is Act 6. If you remember last time, we walked into the Colonel's room, just like this, which started Act 6. We noticed that he was not there, but his wheelchair was. So let's go ahead and look at it. This is one of those ones where the game doesn't recognize that Laura has noticed that the wheelchair is there. We have to look at it ourselves first, and so we can see that he's apparently up walking around somewhere, and he doesn't even have his cane because we have that, so who knows how fit that guy is. It's still possible that he took the elevator, because we didn't leave it in the down position, but we can see that the elevator is down there. You can tell that because you can see the cable. If it's in the attic, you just can't see anything, it's just an empty shaft. Well, just to remind us, in the very beginning of the game, Wilbur's medicine bag was in here, but it has been missing for some time now, I think. Basically since like Act 1 or 2, it's been gone. And interestingly, if we head back into the room here, I actually didn't notice this until just now, the wheelchair is gone. So the room is still down, so presumably while we were in here, either the Colonel or somebody else came in and collected his wheelchair and has made off with it. So that's sort of mysterious. Well, let's go to a room we haven't gone to in a very long time, since Act 1 actually, the bathroom. And there's nothing really to do in here since that time. You can always take a shower and get murdered if you want to, or use the toilet and have a Leisure Suit Larry reference for you. But now, let's look in the wastebasket. See what's in there. We can see that a small empty bottle's in there, and if we get it, then we can maybe read more about it. Dr. Miliken's Miracle Sleep Powder. This might be what people were talking about when they said that Wilbur was usually sort of half off of his rocker, his game, whatever, because he samples his wares. He has this sleeping powder. And this is also one of the only times in the game where they give you a hint that you might want to use some kind of magnifying glass, because we're told that there's small print that we can't quite read. So, seeing as we have a monocle, we can't pick up the bottle for some reason. Laura is very selective about what she will pick up, and apparently that bottle just does not meet the standards. So, let's take a look at it and see what we can see. I feel like most sleeping powders are probably fatal if taken in too large of a dose. That's not that unusual, but I do like that it's this tiny print at the bottom. Curse you, Dr. Miliken. You've fooled us all. Well, whoever the murderer was usually has been disposing of things a little bit better than this, if they are murder implements. I mean, the rolling pin was not quite in the swamp, but it was over to that side of the island. I guess the poker was just right by Wilbur. I don't know, this seems like more of a, it was all used up and then they just sort of carelessly threw it away kind of thing. And it could have been used for just about anybody. I mean, the murderer certainly could have used it to, say, drug Gertie and then throw her out the window. Or it could have been used legitimately by anybody who wanted to sleep. Although I guess everybody who was... Well, no, Clarence was sleeping at one point and he's still alive. Although you'd think if he took sleeping powder, he'd still be out. It also could have been used to drug any of the other people that have been murdered so far, and then administer the fatal blow to them so it looked like it was something else. We certainly don't have any medical training, and we wouldn't be able to spot that they had been drugged before they were hit or anything like that. This isn't CSI Plantation Bio Edition. But enough talk about murder. Let's go up and see Fifi and Jeeves. This romance has been brewing for 3 or 4 chapters at least now. Jeeves has been getting ready just this last chapter, but Fifi has been getting ready for this more or less all night. We've sort of figured out that the two of them have cute little crushes on each other, and I think that this is actually a nice touch to the game. I mean, it's all, you know, murder plots and depression and murder mysteries before now. I actually like that they've included a little just nice subplot, just two people that like each other having a little date. And so because Laura is such an expert at stepping in at the exact wrong time and ruining everything, I figured we would go upstairs and enjoy the one part of this game that is not just all about murder. Well, okay, this is murder too. Apparently, we have broken two staples of the game, two rules so far this chapter. We have not found somebody doing something alone at the start of the chapter, and not one but two people have perished so far. Well, let's quickly canvass the room and see if we can find anybody. Apparently there's either nothing in here, or she isn't noticing a murderer crouched. Let's see if anything stands out to us. I might describe something else in the room other than it was fixed off nicely. See if we can get off here. I don't know if we can turn this off, but we can. Huh. Interestingly. You can never do that when Gloria's listening to it, so this is just a neat little thing they put in. It doesn't matter. But let's examine the bodies like we tend to do. I think you actually have to examine both of them to get the full score. Even though you get the same message with both of them, there's no wounds on their bodies. Now, to set this up, let's do a little Blue's Cluesy kind of thing. Does anybody see the clue that tells you probably how Fifi and Jeeves died? That's right. They both have very conspicuous glasses full of spilled liquid. And we can see that cognac, the decanter of cognac over here. So let's take a look at it. There's a strange white powder at the bottom. Now, can anybody think of what might be causing that strange powder to be in there? That's right. It is the sleeping powder, or at least we can assume that it is, from Dr. Miliken's store, from Dr. Wilbur's bag that someone stole and then deposited in the trash can in the bathroom. So let's go ahead and look at the decanter with the monocle. See if by chance there are two clear fingerprints on this decanter. Now, this isn't suspicious at all, and the other time this happened with the record, as somebody pointed out in the thread, this is also not suspicious at all. Of course two people handled the decanter, Fifi and Jeeves. But that's not to say that it couldn't have been the murderer. Maybe Jeeves poured drinks for both of them. Maybe Fifi did. We really can't tell anything. You can also look at that and just, confirm that they were drinking that cognac when they died. Well, let's look at the placement of their bodies, actually. I've never done this before. So it looks like Fifi's leg goes over one of Jeeves and then under the other. But then Jeeves' leg goes over one of Fifi's and then under her other one. So they're sort of curiously positioned there. I guess that they could have been hugging and drinking while they were alive, and then both sort of fell backwards in this one particular arc. It must have been a very strong dose to put them out so quickly like that. And I guess because you can see this fine white powder actually settling at the bottom of the decanter of cognac. I mean, that means there is so much sleeping powder in that cognac that it actually won't dissolve anymore, and it's forming just this little precipitate down there at the bottom. So that is just a lot. And if we leave and come back, just like normal, they're gone. Interestingly, the flowers are gone too, but not the cognac. Now, I didn't look at those when I was up here, but there's nothing suspicious about them. I mean, it just confirms that they were the flowers that Jeeves had. That is an interesting detail, though, and one that I actually hadn't noticed until just now, along with the wheelchair, that the flowers have been taken. You wonder why that might be. Why would the murderer take those? I'm not sure. Well, let's not head downstairs just yet, like I was about to. Let's see if we can find some of the other remaining alive people. That would be Lillian, Rudy, Clarence, Seeley, and Colonel Dejan are still left alive. Well, we've already been in the Colonel's room and seen that he is not there and his wheelchair is gone as well. Let's take a quick look into the rooms of two of the remaining people. First, Lillian, who advances our clock, and who is also apparently writing. I'm going to guess that's a diary or a journal of some kind. It would seem odd to me that she would murder 2 people and then head right back to her room and start writing in her diary, but, you know, who knows? She might. And in Clarence's room, apparently this is sort of the hour of writing, because he also appears to be writing at his desk. Well, let's just take a second and bug the 2 of them and see if we can come up with anything interesting. They're certainly not having arguments or revealing anything to us that we don't know, so let's see if we can at least, you know, get some info out of them. Well, Lillian apparently hides her diary as soon as we come in, and needs to do something privately. Oh, Lillian, you are crazy. Literally. You are actually crazy. Now, what's hard about Lillian is you can't tell how suspicious anything is. I mean, she's crazy, but is she violent crazy? I don't know. Is this would be suspicious if it was anybody else, but maybe for her, she's just getting paranoid and wants some time alone. Don't actually know, so she's sort of an X factor. Clarence here had a little talk with us last time. He's calling us Laura instead of Miss Bow now, so I guess he's opening up to us a bit. And whatever it is, he's apparently having a hard time of it. He appears to be just writing. Let's see if we can get a description of what he's up to. Yeah, he's sort of sad, sort of despondent these days. Poor guy. Well, there's nothing to do on the top 2 floors, so let's go ahead and head downstairs. Most everybody that would be in the parlor is dead now. I mean, the games room. The parlor, actually, something might be interesting in there, because we just found 2 fingerprints up on the cognac. And yes, Clarence was drinking down here right before he went up and started writing. So let's see if we can get any fingerprints off of his glass. Not close enough, of course. And we have found Clarence's fingerprint on this glass, or I assume it's Clarence's, because he was just down here drinking. I am going to compare all 3 of these fingerprints in the thread. I don't think you can get anything useful out of them. I don't think they're high-res enough for that or whatever. But I will do it, and I will tell you the results. So, I think we all know what time it is. That is correct. It is Parrot Update time. Let's see if we can get anything useful out of this guy. Huh. So somebody is looking for Gloria. Now that could be anybody, but the only person, well, the 2 people I can think of who might have a reason to find her would be Rudy and Clarence. She is Rudy's sister and he depends on her a lot, and Clarence might want to talk again about the breakup. Colonel DeJean, Lillian, Seeley, these people all might be looking for her, but it's not exactly clear why. So, that is Parrot Update for this update. Sure is getting quiet and empty in here, with all the people being murdered like they are. We still don't know where they're hiding the bodies. Could be in the swamp, I guess that's the prevalent theory for right now. But let's just see if anybody else is around. Well, no one's in this room, but something is different. It's hard to spot, so I'll let you guys take a look for a second. It's not that shadow walking around out back. Whoever that silhouette is apparently not dead yet. Let's see if we can determine what is different. That's right. The door to the left weapons cabinet appears to be ajar. Yep, whoever it was that was rifling in here didn't bother to close it. Now we know Lillian was looking in here earlier, so she at least knew what was in here. But it really could have been anybody. So, what's in the cabinet? Well, we see an Australian boomerang, a steel cutlass, a mace, and an antique crossbow. This is where it's good that we looked in here earlier, because, if we remember, there also used to be a pearl-handled dagger in here. So, wherever that used to be, it's gone now, which is probably sort of ominous, considering, all the murders tonight and whatnot. Not as funny as if they'd taken the tomahawk or the crossbow or one of the spears. I would love to see, Clarence with a crossbow bolt in him. I mean, love to see, poor guy, but that would be a funny death. As it is, let's just head out here, see if we can see anybody. Well, there's Rudy. Just petting the dog. Also advancing our clock. Doesn't understand. Let's go ahead and pet him too. Oh, only one petter at a time. What's going on with you, Rudy? He's sullen. He's angry. He and Clarence appear to be getting in worse and worse moods as the evening goes on, either because of all of their murdering, or because things are just regularly falling apart. But he appears to be friends with the dog, so let's just see how he's doing. Yeah, I guess we should be. Although not everybody else is sleeping. You know, one odd thing that I notice is that, people seem to think that everybody else is sleeping. There's no doors on any of the rooms upstairs, which is itself very odd. But why is it that they don't just go up and look in the rooms up there? I'm not actually sure about that. In fact, why aren't there any doors on, any of the main... I guess I can understand in the downstairs hallway that you just want people to freely come and go. Well, now that I think about it, mostly not many people live here, and I guess the Colonel doesn't care if, Fifi or Jeeves just walks into his room at night. So maybe there's no doors because maybe that was the style at these old manor houses, or maybe he didn't care. If anybody knows, by the way, I'd love to know if, old houses traditionally just didn't have interior doors, just exterior ones. But you'd think that they would be able to go upstairs and look and see that everybody was missing and not sleeping. But whatever. So here we are, going to see the last remaining person, unless we somehow randomly bump into Colonel Dijon, who knows where he's at. We know that Celie is still alive. So, you know what, let's go pay her a visit and see what's going on with her. Well, whatever it was apparently important enough to prompt us into Act 7.